All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. Gonna see if it has BSS for these two Google searches. So we're back here in the GPC universe. We're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city, utilizing, our North Star as always is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And this is our North Star because it explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our intent spectrum here in white, and we got way on the left, we got the highest intent people, the Google searchers, the social media searchers. These are people that are looking for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. Highest intent people, closest to the money, highest conversion rate. And over on the right, we got the lowest intent people. These are, reached by interruption ads, Facebook, Instagram. People ain't looking for a boudoir right now. Most of them don't even know what the heck boudoir is. So that's our sister brand, FB Ad Doctor. Talk about BLCS over there, different profiles. And these are we currently over there only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. But here we talk about BSS. We're gonna dive into it right now. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And when a boudoir photographer's got 0 slots, well, they're on page 2 or deeper, and that's extra bad. And that's because we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They're page 1 and done. And so that's who we care about. We care about the approximately 80% of Google searchers because they're the bulk of the market. We don't care about the remaining 20%. Let's focus on the approximately 80%. So we're on page 2 or deeper, dude. We're invisible to all of them. 1 slot on page 1 Google, also not good enough. Still basically invisible, simply because we look the same as everyone else. And if we got 1 slot on page 1 of Google, well, there's 10 slots. And as a result, it's probably going to be 9 other boudoir photographers, 1 link for each. And so, a buyer, what they're going to be doing is just, clicking, going down, clicking everyone's link, and, price shopping everyone, and basically contacting everyone, jamming down the price, jamming down the what a seller can get, and it's become super, super cutthroat. So we never want to be at 0 or 1. We call that boudoir search sameness. And 0 or 1 slots on page 1 Google is not normal. Extremely common, extremely accepted, but not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. The first deeper root cause, market saturation. Someone get a new iPhone, then they throw up on Google Maps that they do boudoir photography, and they got a website that's starting to rank page 1 on, or competing to rank page 1 on Google. Or someone gets a new camera, they start posting in the mom groups that they shoot boudoir now. So this market saturation, basically everyone knows about this. A big kind of tsunami happened during COVID. People couldn't work, lost their jobs, they still need to earn money. Everyone's got a smartphone, everyone's got an awesome camera. So a lot of boudoir photographers entered the market. Makes it harder for every other boudoir photographer in that market, because it's the same sellers or more sellers for the same number of buyers. So it gets harder and harder for each seller. Now, this new one that very few people know about is the false belief of page 1 equality. That's the second deeper root cause for why people only have 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And that's because it's simply kind of automatically accepting or agreeing with, or maybe not even thinking about thinking if it's true or false, but kind of an auto assumption that each boudoir photographer, it's either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And if you're on page 1, you had your 1 slot with your website, and market gets a little bit more saturated, you get kicked down to page 2. Well, that's simply how it is. You win some, you lose some. And, you kind of got to simply wait for someone to delete their boudoir photography website to actually increase, or, actually hopefully move back up onto page 1. So that's a false belief. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 of Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days. So I know Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. The best part is, it requires no Google ads, which at max will give you 1 PPC slot somewhere on the page, even if there's other available inventory open. And their momentum dies when you stop spending. So there, and you got to test and figure out all these things to get them to work, constant checking. Way too much maintenance for, not enough outcome there. Next, we know that Boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing Boudoir photographer, because if they're on page 2 or deeper, or if they're on page 1 but one slot essentially invincible, then they disappeared from essentially like the 80% of searchers, which means the boudoir photography business itself is on the path to disappearing as well. And we don't want that to happen. So we got our micro universe here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. Thankfully, though, we now have a solution because we know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka executed methodology. And we know that because we invented it, we've used it. We've gone from, again, 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search in only 10 days. And it works exactly as it says, social search saturation. We're going to saturate the highest intent keywords on social search. And as a result of that, well, when we do that, it's kind of like small streams and rivers on the backside of the Andes Mountains down in South America. When we successfully have those eventually flow down into the large Amazon River. They all merge. And likewise in our scenario, all our social search saturation eventually flows down and merges onto Google page 1 Google search, those 10 organic slots. And Google will give us as many as we put in the effort to acquire. And also SQ methodology is the only thing I've seen that actually, for boudoir photographers, that is able to successfully fight back against market saturation. So, maintain the business and actually still grow in spite of market saturation. So still get bigger and happen relatively quickly, get results shown up relatively quickly. The only other thing I've seen that can fight back against market saturation and still allow the business to grow in spite of market saturation is brand. Having a well-known, massive brand. But dude, that takes 5 to 10 years. We ain't got that time. SQ methodology works relatively way faster than that. And AI is taking people's jobs, taking people's opportunities. We ain't got 5 to 10 years to build a brand. With SQ methodology, if let's say there's a million boudoir photographers in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we're one of them, and everyone's got their own boudoir photography website, competing to rank page 1 Google search, then what's going to happen is we need to try a new strategy to actually outcompete everyone else. So take SQ methodology, we crank it up to the max, and let's say we take the first 300 slots on social search for all the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, and we actually, that saturation actually flows onto Google page 1, and we actually get the first 300 slots Google to ourselves. What actually happens is it's 10 organic Google slots per page, and as a result, we got the first 30 pages all to ourselves, and the final one is page 31. That's essentially our competitors first start showing up for organic search. So boudoir buyers basically never find them. So whose business is growing when we got ultra market saturation, a million boudoir photographers? But where the first 300 slots anywhere a boudoir buyer looks. Obviously, our business is still growing. Everyone else's business is disappearing, dying off. It's because SQ methodology is the only thing that enables that without having a brand. And it actually speeds up the process of acquiring a brand. My estimation is probably 8x faster. It's because we're seen on so many more surfaces so much more frequently. Next, once we treat with SQ methodology, we have page 1 visibility. And an initial benefit of this, and a second benefit utilizing SQ methodology, is every new slot we take, page 1 of Google, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. So that's a second benefit. That's another initial benefit of utilizing SQ methodology, is we're getting more kicking more pieces off page 1. We already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2, so we're making our competitors invisible to approximately 80% of the searchers out there. Awesome. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. This is where we want to hit our recommended 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google, because that's the GBC recommended minimum. And that's because if we got 3 slots, basically everyone else will have 1 slot, we'll look way better than them. Way higher chance buyers, click on us and don't even click on our competitors because they're like, wow, why does Google recommend this person 3 times? It's the 3rd person I've seen them now on this page. They may not even click on any of our competitors. And in the very rare case, another boudoir photographer competitor has 2 slots, then we're still dominating them as well. We got it because we got 3. So that's why we got the GBC recommended minimum of 3. And a boudoir photographer with BSV boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page 1 equality. And we now have a solution, S-cubed methodology. We achieve page 1 visibility, we become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Next, my results. So my results, I want to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. Okay, I'm going to utilize my S-cubed methodology to achieve that. And after 10 days, these are my results. So page 1, this is Google organic page 1, or the organic slots here for organic search. Slot 1, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10, me. So in 10 days, I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google, all by purely using S-cubed methodology. So we're not going to say if this boudoir photography business has BSS, yes or no, for these 2 Google searches. So let's see. Boom. All right. Santa Clara, San Jose. All right, right here. So Santa Clara. All right, so let's see. We got 1 out of 10. And that. And well, we got 1 out of 10. I mean, we got the Google, but we don't get that as Google, the 10 organic slots. So we got 1 out of 10. Dang. Yeah, no, I know actually Santa Clara is right in the middle of San Jose, so that actually makes sense. More kind of keyword overlap competing for these slots. So yeah, dude, we got BSS here, boudoir search sameness. Let's simply look at the 10 organic slots. Now let's also look at San Jose. All right, so we got 1 out of 10. We got all right. We got 1 out of 10 again. So we got BSS. All right, so we got BSS for both searches. We're at 1 out of 10 for both. And so yeah, we got BSS, and also we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 slots to really get that boudoir search visibility. All right, so if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've done your local search or city search with the highest intent boudoir buyer searches, and you had BSS for 1 or both of them, or you did not meet the GBC recommended minimums of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google search for either 1 or both of them, and you've accepted that the false belief of page 1 equality is actually a false belief, and you understand, well, now we can actually go and grab and take as many page 1 Google slots as we want. Way better than ads, because Google PPC, I believe the max we're getting is one PPC slot, even if there's 4 or 5 slots available. And once stop spending on ads, that momentum dies. With S-cubed methodology, there is still some momentum that continues after. It's not infinite, but there is still momentum that continues after. And you're saying, okay, S-cubed methodology is perfect for you. It's the way forward. You've been waiting for something like this. You want those initial benefits, more slots, page 1 on Google. And actually, you really also like the sound of the second initial benefit, which is kicking off your competitors off page 1 on Google, putting them down on to page 2. And you actually, you understand the market saturation. Yeah, people get new gear, more boudoir photographers coming over time. But you're actually looking ahead and you're saying, man, AI is taking people's jobs already. So you know it's going to happen more and more and more and more. And so you're like, man, actually, not only is new gear going to bring more boudoir photographers into the market, but actually the largest portion of new peeps entering the market will be AI taking their jobs. They still need to earn money. And as a result, they turn to become boudoir photographers. Everyone's got an awesome smartphone with great camera, so flood the market. So you're saying, so you realize, hold on, you actually need to also fortify your position page one on Google. Have so many links of yours Google wants to rank page one that Google actually holds them in reserve off on like page two, to where current boudoir photographers essentially cannot even rank page one, and neither can the new entrants that would mostly be coming from AI taking their jobs, can essentially no longer rank on page one. And you're saying, okay, the only viable way you can see that happening is also with SQ methodology. And you're liking those benefits, and you're actually liking looking ahead where doing this SQ methodology is building up these basically invisible thematic keyword columns plugged into your brand, in digital cyberspace, under your brand name, website name, social handles, and kind of basically building up back-end AI mindshare in the AI brain. Every single day we successfully execute SQ methodology together. And every single day that happens, we're increasing the probability Google, all these manual search places will recommend us an AI overview, the #1 most premium placement that we cannot pay for, and be the only one recommended here, right at the top. So you're seeing everyday SQ methodology builds up this, building up the keywords, kind of age, repetition, authority, grouping, relevance, all building up this backend AI mindshare to increase the probability we show up. We're displayed on this AI overview, and also increasing the probability that we show up for every standard AI search in the AI search apps, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, and Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. You actually understanding it serves a dual purpose for these AI systems, front-facing, standard search, but also AI search. And last time I did AI search for a boudoir photographer in a city, it recommended 3. This was with ChatGPT. And I went to that city and manually looked, and I was Google and Facebook, and I was able to find like 60. It's like, man, we got to find a way to get recommended here if AI search is only recommending 3. And you're seeing it. SQ methodology is the only solution out there for boudoir photographers that has the highest chance of giving that benefit. And you're also seeing that, you understand, since my plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city, that you understand you decide you're going to be a first mover to jump on this, because then you can actually prevent all your competitors from getting it. You get all the benefits, more links page one, kicking more competitors off page one, making them disappear in the short term, and most likely in the long term. Higher chance of being shown AI search, AI overview, approximately 8x faster building a brand, and basically building a massive gap between you and all your current competitors and potential future competitors coming when AI is taking people's jobs to this back-end AI mindshare by executing SQ methodologies successfully every single day. And you also see in the converse, if a competing boudoir photographer in your city jumps on this first, then as a result, you'll actually be frozen out. They'll begin the benefits. They'd begin more slots on page one. They'd be kicking you off page one, maybe even kicking off you page 2 as well if we could do enough links. So you could be off page 3 or deeper. They're building up this AI backend AI mindshare momentum. They're building out their brand approximately 8x faster than you, and just building a massive, massive gap between me and your competitor and you. And so you would then have to rederive SQ methodology all on your own, or at least derive it in the first place, the first time for yourself. And you'd have to, you'd never feel 100% confident you've actually derived it correctly, because you'd never actually know. And then you'd have to equal our output every single day. And when you equal output every single day, you would simply be maintaining the gap me and your competitor have already built up against you. So you'd actually have to 2 to 3x our output every single day. And when that happens, you probably won't even feel confident to put in the time to do that, because again, you would not feel 100% confident you've even derived the strategy correctly in the first place. And who's even got 80 hours a day to do all this? So you realize now you're saying that you're like, screw that. I'm going to be the first mover in my city. I'm going to prevent every other boudoir photographer from my area from doing this. I cannot, afford to miss this. Then shoot me a DM. My DMs are currently closed. The hospital is currently closed to new patients. But when I do open my DM, shoot me a DM. And what we will do is we'll see if you qualify for utilizing our S cubed methodology.